In those raw first weeks of 1993, before my family broke apart and before the March fires, before the world turned its lurid attention our way, and before her, and before everything else that changed me, I was 14 years old and learning to pick locks. I could open car doors with wire hangers, school lockers with a pocket knife, and almost anything else with tools my brother had sent me. Mason had been an infantry corporal in the Marines, but he'd stayed in Iraq after the war to work as a contractor. He'd just turned 21. We hadn't seen him in years, and although he was supposed to return home in the fall, I couldn't stop myself from imagining a future without him. Occasionally, when I struggled with a difficult lock, I'd pretend Mason was trapped on the other side of the door, and his safety depended on my opening it in time. Sometimes I saved him, sometimes not. My parents didn't know about Mason's tools, or the pillowcase full of locks under my bed, or the hours I spent picking when I should have been sleeping or studying. My mother was a hospice nurse then, and my father was the high sheriff of McLennan County. Their minds were on graver subjects. At supper, one of us would say grace, and then we'd tell a little bit about our days, hers tending to the infirm, and his at the sheriff's office, and mine at school. We weren't a family of bean spillers or bucket mouths. We curated our lives, gave each other wide berths. They knew Rosie had dumped me over Christmas vacation, but not that I'd stopped catching the bus from school to avoid seeing her on Isaac Garza's lap the whole ride. And I knew my parents, who claimed not to smoke, shared cigarettes in the backyard when something rattled them at their jobs or with Mason. But none of this came up at the table. We just listened to the sounds of our forks and knives, our glasses being lifted and put down. We asked each other to pass the fried okra or the jar of tartar sauce. We said how good it would be when Mason came home, speculated on what he'd want to eat and do first. We made plans for the happier times ahead. This was how innocent we were, how gullible. This was Waco.